So this video is going to be a little bit something different. I am on the floor, but I've got my pillows and I'm just relaxed and I'm going to just talk away. So I have been wanting to do this video for quite a while now, but I always felt like I didn't have the right to do it. I felt like I probably didn't know what I was talking about and that I was going to be kind of yabbering on about something that maybe wasn't true, something that I wasn't really experiencing, and I honestly thought I would be feeling better and it wasn't what we thought it was and all of that kind of thing. But the last few days it's become very clear to me that I am going through this, and so I wanted to make this video for you guys for three reasons. Number one, for myself, for documentation, and to look back on when, fingers crossed, I have got through this, because I am definitely planning to get through this and I just want it for myself. The second reason I want to do this video is for you guys, and I guess for the people that know me in my personal life, if they watch it, so that they understand what's going on with me. It's a lot easier for me to talk to the camera than it is for me to say all of this in person to someone. I don't have any responses coming back. I don't have to read facial expressions and that kind of thing, so it's a lot easier for me to express everything this way. And the third reason I want to do this is for people coming to YouTube to find help on this kind of thing. When I've gone onto YouTube to have a look around, I have got a lot of help, a lot of tips, a lot of experiences, but what I haven't come across is kind of people right in the throes of it. I've had people that say, when I had this, or when I was going through this, or when this first started, 10 years ago, that kind of thing, and I still am not yet to come across anyone that has recorded going through it, especially right at the start, when everything is so raw, everything is so intense, and just really what it's like to be in the throes of it. And so I thought I would do this for anyone that's experiencing the same thing, that want to know that what they're feeling is normal, what they're going through other people experience. So this is why I'm doing this video. If you haven't picked it up already, this video is going to be my anxiety video. Why do I have it, what's happening, how am I dealing with it, and just really putting it out there so people know what's going on. So I guess if you have just stumbled across this video and you don't really know what is going on, you can either click my name below, go and have a look, subscribe while you're there, but you'll find bits and pieces on there. Otherwise, I guess a really quick rundown is I got very unwell this time last year in hospital through routine surgery, taken my appendix out, which didn't need to be taken out. What they believe happened is they burst, so I ended up with a burst appendix through surgery, and once I went home I developed a very bad infection that led to septicemia. I got help for that. I became very unwell at home, to the point that I felt like I was collapsing. I was very unwell, went to A&E, lots of needles, lots of tests, felt a lot better. Got sent home. About a week later I was experiencing the same stuff. My husband rushed me to hospital. They found they had an abscess. This was my third admission. By now I was thinking I don't want more needles. My veins were collapsing. They decided to put a needle in my back to drain the abscess. They told me that they were going to sedate me, which they did not, and I felt every single inch of those needles 4 times, to the point that I was screaming and telling them to stop, which they did. I ended up in theatre again that night for them to drain it that way. When I came out, I had tubes, I had the oxygen, I had open wounds. I was an absolute mess. That admission was my third one, and that's when things started getting very bad for me. And then when they finally let me out, the infection healed itself finally. They finally got on top of it, and then I ended up with an ileus, which is when your bowels stop working. This was because I just had so much medical intervention in my body, and my bowels had been interrupted too much. I had a tube put down my through my nose down my throat to keep my stomach empty. That didn't go down well with me. I continued to have more needles. My veins were completely shattered. They had to get ICU nurses to look after me with my veins. I had an ICU nurse for a night because I was very unwell. I couldn't stop vomiting, and I was in there for a week. By the time I was discharged, I'd had 4 admissions, lost count of how many needles and nasty procedures, and I spent about 6 weeks in hospital. During the last 2 admissions, I started to feel very uncomfortable. The 3rd admission, I think I was just very teary. I was over it. I was in an extreme amount of pain, and I just didn't want to be there, which was really, I felt very overwhelmed about that, because the first 2 times I'd gone in, I knew that I was there for a very good reason, that I needed to be there. But I think just when things start going wrong, when you're very unwell, your mental state doesn't, you're just very sick, you're very tired, you're very sore, and so my mental state started going downhill a little bit. And then when the doctor rang me and I had to be admitted for the 4th time, I completely broke. And to go in hospital and for them to put the tube down my throat, I was bloated, I wasn't very well. To know that body functions weren't working, to be told that my body was kind of shutting down, I one night began to panic. I've never had a panic attack in my life. I have always been a happy, I've been moody and all that kind of thing, but I've never felt like this before. My mother-in-law was there, and I just got really upset when it was time for her to go, and she's like, what's wrong? I said, I can't do it, I can't. And automatically I felt the room closing in around me, and I started sweating, and I started rocking, and I said, I need to get out of here, I need to go. I think half the reason was because I was strapped to things. I had the tube down my throat, I was strapped to, the fluids and monitors, and I just felt so restricted. They came and got me off everything, but having that tube still down my throat, I still felt I was kind of stuck there, even though I wasn't. I was just rocking, and I just started really saying, I can't do this anymore, I don't want to be here, I can't do it. Thinking about it right now is just a bit much. Moving on. So that was my first panic attack. The nurses, I think, understood how I felt. Obviously they had got to know me, they had known everything I'd gone through, and she came in and said, we're getting you your own room. I was like, oh, okay. So they got me my own room. My husband turned up. I said, I was still sitting there, I was still kind of rocking, and I was kind of, I just can't calm myself down, I just don't want to be here. So I was very scared, because I was like, is this going to stop? Am I going to feel like this for the rest? Is something going wrong? Because my chest felt very tight, and I was like, something's wrong, you guys need to stop it. And they said, we can't stop this, you need to calm. They were explaining what was happening to me. They said, you need to start breathing. I was like, I can't. I was bawling. I was in my own room, but I just still felt very trapped. My husband turned up, like I said, and they said, you can take her downstairs, take her outside. He put me in the wheelchair, and we went downstairs, and I think this was the first time that I'd been outside really for a long time. And he took me down to the car park, and we sat there for a while, and then in the end I was like, okay, I was trying to talk to him, I was trying to act normal, I was trying to get myself back together. We went back upstairs, and I just sat there, and I said to him, you need to go and tell them that I want to go home. Like, you need to tell them. We rang the doctor, and the doctor came in, and she said, you are not well enough to go home. You still got this tube down your throat, you're not going home. I said, I have to go home. You cannot make me stay here. And they said, look, it's not an option. We can't just say, okay, it's up to you, go. You are actually very unwell. We can't do anything. You need to stay here. And I was like, I can't. So finally, this had gone on for a couple of hours, and finally they said, we are going to help you. We're going to give you some medication for this. And I've always been scared of medication, that kind of thing. I've always said, and I said to them, I don't want it. I had, obviously, because I'd never been through this, I had never really researched on what it does or anything. All I knew is that people can get addicted to it. I didn't know what it was going to do to me, and they said, we're going to give you the smallest dose. They gave me two things. I can't remember what they're called, but one was to just calm me, and one was a sleeping pill, and they said, you need to get some sleep, because in the hospital I was not sleeping. Finally I gave in and I took it, and I just calmed down, and I just felt very drowsy and very unwell, and I was just lying there. And I think they also gave me a shot of morphine, because I was very sore, and it just put me out for the night. So that was my first experience with a panic attack. When I woke up in the morning, I just lay there thinking, this is horrible. Like, what was that? I still felt very uncomfortable, but I was just keeping myself at bay. And luckily the next day I got the tube out, and they said, if everything's going well, the next few days you should be allowed to go home. So that was my first panic attack, and the days following were sort of very uncomfortable. I kept having to calm myself down, and I'm pretty sure that next night they also did give me half of a sleeping pill, just because they knew that things weren't going well for me anymore, and I just needed whatever help they could give me to get me through. So finally I was allowed to go home. I was fine. I was trying to adjust back to my normal life, and I can't remember how long after, but I know it wasn't very long, like within a matter of a couple of weeks to a month, 2 months, I started having very bad dreams. I had dreams people were trying to hold me down, dreams that people were trying to kill me by lethal injection. I couldn't watch movies, like I wasn't getting much sleep, so I was always very tired. I started finding I couldn't watch movies of people at the hospital. I couldn't talk about the hospital stuff without feeling very flustered, and things like that. And then one night I felt myself, I think we were talking about the hospital, and I felt myself panicking again. And luckily I ended up getting distracted by something, but I just thought, I can't do this again. Like, what's going on? Why? Everything's alright now. I'm fine. Like, what's wrong? So, I think it went on. I kept having these really bad dreams. I used to love watching things like the medical programs and all that. All of a sudden I couldn't without getting very upset. And finally I went to the doctors to talk to them. I said, what's going on? And I was unofficially, and still am unofficially, diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. The reason I'm unofficially diagnosed is because I have not seen a therapist about it, but the doctor has said to me, this is, you tick the boxes. And when I thought about that kind of thing, I was like, I haven't been through what a lot of people go through, I haven't been hurt by someone else, I haven't been to war, I haven't been through this huge crisis. But the more she talked to me, and the more other people talked to me, and they were saying to me, look, you've been through a lot. You've been through about 6 weeks of just hospital stuff, and the procedures and the things you saw, and it's just emotionally draining. And so I started trying to help myself. So I started trying to help myself and trying to read things, and how am I going to get through this? And I didn't really have any more panic attacks. I just had horrible thoughts on things, my sleeping and all that. And about 3 or 4 months later, it started all coming right again, and I started feeling myself again. I still had the odd moment where I just couldn't handle it, but I started feeling good again. So 6 months down the track, I ended up in pain and going to the hospital, and they had a look and they said, okay, you've got another mass there and we think it's a cyst. Okay. So they said, we're going to get you to see your surgeon again and see what he says. I was like, okay. So I saw him and he said to me, we're going to have to take it out, and I was like, alright then, that's fine. And I was feeling okay about it, you know. And then the operation came. I had the operation 8 weeks ago, and I was feeling fine. I hadn't had too much issues apart from, like I was saying, the odd moment, but everything had got back, you know, everything was going well. So I went in for my operation, and I was lying there, and they started taking me in, and I did start feeling a little bit panicky, and I thought, no, you're going to be alright, it's going to be a quick operation, everything's going to be fine. So we went in, and she couldn't get the needle in my arm, and I just started bawling, and she said, you know, it's okay, and I said, no, my veins aren't good. Like, even a year later, my veins hadn't quite recuperated, and I was like, no, I don't want to do this. And next thing, I woke up. So they put the gas on me and got me out. I did not wake up very well, and that was the beginning of this. That was the beginning. I had been nearly a year without too much stress, without too much complications, and then I woke up and I looked around and I remember panicking, and honestly I was still very tired, and generally I should just lay back down and close my eyes, and they were like, are you in pain? And I was like, no, I don't want to be here, and I just could not make myself lie back, and I was like, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here, I can't, I don't, you know. And they're like, you need to relax. I was like, I can't. And I remember forcing myself to just lie there with my eyes open, looking around. Of course my tummy was sore, I just had surgery and they removed the cyst. Looking around, and they wheeled me through to recovery, and then they wheeled me through to my husband, and I was just remember sitting up, and I just couldn't calm myself down. I was like, I need to get up, I need to get off the bed, I can't, I don't want to be here. And my husband turned up, and you know, the guy said, when you're feeling better and that, you know, we'll get you up. And I said, no, I'm getting up now. I think I pushed myself too quick. I got up, I went into the bathroom, and I changed and dealt with whatever I had to deal with. And I remember coming out, and I said, can I go now? And they're like, you've just had surgery like an hour ago, we just need to keep an eye on you. And I said, well, can I sit in the chair? I don't want to sit in the bed, can I sit in the chair? And they're like, yeah, that's fine. And I sat in the chair, and I just remember looking around, I kept saying to my husband, we need to go home, I can't do this anymore. And I just really wanted to go home, and finally about 2 hours later they said, you're free to go. When we got home, I just sat in my bedroom, and I was just like, please don't let this happen, please don't let this happen. And I remember sitting there going, you need to calm down. It hadn't come on as a full-blown attack, but I could feel it, and I was just sitting there going, this needs to stop. And I think that night I didn't get much sleep. Obviously I was sore from surgery and all that, that's a whole, you know, that's a whole nother thing, but I just didn't get much sleep. And when I got up the next day, I kind of felt a lot better about everything. But I was sitting there thinking, this can't be happening. Like, why did I have that attack? That was a full blow-in. I came out of surgery at like 5 or 6 that night, and that was a full-blown attack that lasted till I finally fell asleep at like midnight. So like 6 hours I was sitting there just feeling trapped. And I think the reason I felt trapped was because my body wasn't normal. I was sore, I couldn't handle being sore. I was like, things aren't right, someone's just been inside my tummy, I've got these stitches, it's cut, I'm unwell, I'm sore, and I just couldn't relax about not feeling normal. So though the 2 weeks that it took to recover, I did have my panicky stages. I'd go sit outside, I'm like, oh, I've still got stitches in there, I can't do this, I can't deal with it. And it was a really rough couple of weeks recovering. Things started coming right, and I recovered. So it has been 3 hours since I was doing this video, and the reason I stopped doing it was because I started panicking. I could just feel myself getting really worked up, and I think just talking about everything. So I just put the camera down and just went and did things. I had to pick up Jaden and all of that kind of stuff. So I was actually thinking that I am not going to do this video anymore. I was just like, nah, it's not working, everything's rambled. I've just rambled on to you guys, but I thought no, because I wanted to show you guys it kind of raw, so to speak. I should turn my phone off. I wanted to show you guys raw and how it is for me, and I guess that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to keep going, and hopefully I can edit out some of the rambling. But I think where I got up to was what happened from the doctors, and so when I went to the doctor, because I never heard from the surgeon about what they'd found or anything like that. So I went to the doctor about 2 weeks post surgery, and she said that they had received a report, and the report says that I had a big cyst that was generally caused from all the scar tissue from my infection. Because I have so much scar tissue, my fallopian tubes and everything are wrapped around my uterus, and there's just fluid collecting around there, and that was the cyst, and generally it turns out that I've been left infertile. And if you really want to know more about it, please like subscribe and look through my videos, because I have gone on about it a lot and I'm keeping you guys up to date. But it has left me infertile, and I will need a full hysterectomy, pretty much. That's what's happening. And I think just that is where I've been left off. I have an appointment in 6 weeks' time with the surgeon to discuss everything. But as far as I know, as far as I've been told, I am infertile. They injected dye through my tubes to see, and no, it didn't work. So I am now infertile, and unable to get pregnant or carry a child, and I will be having a hysterectomy as far as the doctor's concerned. So that has caused, on top of kind of the PTSD thing, all the bad memories and the panic attacks from that, I am now trying to deal with feeling like shit. Because we had tried for 2 years prior to this to get pregnant with baby number 3, and yes, and I've got 2 babies, and I am very grateful for them, and I am grateful that I was able to even conceive children at all and everything. And I'm just going to be outright blunt here. I'm sick of hearing that. I get told that every single day, and just because I am broken-hearted and having a lot of trouble dealing with the fact that I can't have another one, does not mean I am ungrateful or love my other children any less, because if anything, I love them more. Like, I love them. They are my world now. They are everything, and I am so blessed to have them, and I am so glad that I went and got pregnant early, and was a young mum, and missed my pill and all that kind of thing to get pregnant, because if I had waited, I may have not had any children. So I don't need people telling me things, and I think that's what's adding to a lot of stuff, because on top of the PTSD and on top of the anxiety, I don't want to say I'm depressed, because I love my life, and apart from the medical side of things, you know, I have a good life. I've got a happy life. I've got a happy marriage. I've got a happy family, everything like that. But I am very, very down and upset about it. And so many people, I think, try to say the right thing, but it's adding to all the anxiety, and it's adding to just everything. So I've got a lot going on in my head, and I can understand where this anxiety is coming from. I'm not sitting here saying, why do I feel anxious? You know, and that's why I say I had trouble dealing with if I should make this video or not, because I felt like, do I really have a real reason to be feeling like this? The more I think about it, the more I realise there's a lot going on with me. There's a lot going on in my life at the moment. There's a lot I'm having to deal with and work out of my head. So I guess this is where the real anxiety and my mental health, so to speak, has started from that operation. It stems back from my previous health stuff. It stems back, I still have bad dreams. I still have all that kind of thing. It's a lot better. I have to say I'm not feeling as bad about when I was in hospital. You know, the bad dreams are lessening. I have a huge fear of hospital now. That is the other thing. And so everything just goes round in a circle, because now I have to go into hospital to have the next operation and to have appointments. I start getting an anxiety about it because I am scared of the place because of my experiences. I hate going into the hospital, because I now have my cyst back as well, which I'm not sure if I've mentioned, but the cyst has grown back again, and I'm in pain all the time. And there's been times when we have thought, and the doctor has said, you need to go to A&E, and I flat out refuse. Unless I am dying or I feel like I can't handle it, I will not go back to A&E, because it just causes this horrible feeling over me. And I used to really not care about it. I used to go if I needed to go, that was fine. Needles I never liked, but I would do them. Now just the panic that comes over me knowing that they're going to want to stick needles in me, they could end up going into surgery, that the doctors are going to muck me around because we got mucked around so much. Doctors won't know what they're talking about, they won't listen to me, all of that. So that's where I am at the moment. And I know I've rambled on for a long time now to get you guys to here, but I think talking about that and what I've been through in the past year and why I am now dealing with what I'm dealing with now is very important for people to know, especially when they don't understand. And so I had to take the time out and tell you guys that, and I'm guessing by now this video is mega long, but that's just how it is. If you're interested, you're interested. If you're not, you're not. So what's triggering my anxiety, obviously, is if anybody talks about hospital, and like I said, if I watch hospital programs and they have the oxygen mask on, or they're getting, I can't watch people get lines in their arms anymore, which is really frustrating because I've always wanted to work in a medical profession. And I still feel like I could, because I had that experience and I feel like I could relate. But right now I can't handle watching people have needles, thing on their faces, or anything that could make me feel claustrophobic. I can't watch people that are climbing through tunnels or anything like that. I don't like elevators. So anything that makes me feel, anything that relates to being stuck in that little hospital room and going through all the procedures and things like that, that triggers me off something chronic. That is probably my worst. As well as getting pain, like I said, if I get my tummy pain or even a headache or something, and I start thinking, oh my goodness, something's happening, I'm going to have to go to the hospital, anything like that, I start panicking. Which is a lot, because I do have a lot of pain still in my tummy until we get it sorted. Talk about babies really, really winds me up. It upsets me. I try to be polite and talk to people about it, and I try to be polite to people that are announcing their pregnancies and talking to me about their pregnancies, and I actually really am interested, and I really am excited for those people, because it also means more babies for me to cuddle. And I'm not a rude person. I'm not going to say, look, I don't want to know, but I will walk away and just have to calm myself down. Like, okay, it's alright. It's not their fault. It's not. But yes, any talk about babies at the moment does make me very upset, which leads to me getting anxious. And then there's weird triggers. Like the other day, we were sitting on the couch watching TV, and I started panicking. And I think it's because we have a crowded house at the moment. My brother and my sister are living with us. I have let them come into my home and live here. Like I have allowed it. But we were sitting there watching TV the other night, and everyone was on the couch. There was my husband and me, and my sister and my brother, and for some reason I just started feeling panicky. I don't know what it was, but I was just like, so it can come out of nowhere. I think we were watching some comedy on the TV, and I just started thinking, oh my goodness. And for some reason, when it flips into my head, when I start panicking, I start thinking about the things that make me panic. I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I'm in the hospital or something. So of course I panic more, and it just doesn't help. So I had to remove myself from the situation. And talking about the crowd, if it's dinner time and everyone's around, or if things like someone hasn't put their plate away, I start getting really anxious, because I'm like, there's so many people around and people aren't helping. I have got very overwhelmed with things like that, and everyone in the house knows about it because I will be vacuuming and I'm like, there's so many people here, why is no one else vacuuming? I get myself very worked up and I start having a panic attack. So there's quite a few triggers for me, which doesn't help because, you know, you want to have a few things that make you happy. And I've got heaps of things that make me happy, but I tend to be finding, I suppose before things get better, it's going to get worse, and I tend to find that it's happening more and more often. I will have a major panic attack. There will be something trigger it at least once every 2 to 3 days. But every day I do start panicking and I have to remove myself from the situation or try and stop it. So the ways I stop my panic attacks is sometimes I can't, especially if I'm already wound up, and I have to let it go and I have to let it happen. And then sometimes I feel them come on, like when I was doing the video, I feel it come on and I have to remove myself from the situation. The one thing that really works me up, and I know people aren't trying to be horrible, is when people tell me, go and have a nice bath, go for a walk, listen to some soothing music, go and take some time out. That doesn't work for me, because when I'm alone, if I'm in the shower or the bath or I'm going to go for a walk, I'm alone, and so I'm thinking, you know, it's you and your thoughts. I have to go and make myself busy. We are painting our house at the moment. Yesterday I started feeling very panicky and wound up. I went outside and started sanding. And yes, I am by myself and I'm sanding, but sooner or later I get wrapped up in making sure that I've done that bit properly and thinking about what I'm going to do next. And it takes my mind off it. I will make a YouTube video. That's how YouTube is really helping me. I will think, okay, that's right, I've got that thing to film about. You'll find a lot of my videos I was having a panic attack and I've gone to film, like the one I filmed the other day about my products. I was actually feeling really unwell then, and I thought, oh, I've got that video to film, I'll go do that. I'll also jump on my phone and either play a game that's on my phone because it makes my concentration onto something else, or I'll start watching videos on YouTube. I have to stimulate my brain. That's why, as well as I'm feeling panicky and just people around me with having a full house, at the same time, I mean, my brother works, but having my sister here with me, I'll go out and talk to her, or we'll go to town, and so it's always nice to have someone. And I think that's the next thing I really want people to know is the last thing I do is I just try to tell myself that it's okay. I am going to beat this. I am not on medication, and I have so many people in my ear telling me to go on medication. So once again I had to stop, and I went and painted some more of the house. See? Covered in paint. But I stopped because, I don't know, I just started feeling really weird, you know, and this video has taken me, and is now coming on 5 hours to make, but I don't want to just think, oh, okay, I'll can it and then re-record it again tomorrow. I really wanted this to be real, and I wanted, if it's mumbled, like I said before, at least it's real, and I'm like kind of voicing my opinion and how I'm really feeling instead of scripting it and going through and just making notes. I just don't feel that that's the real way to do it, and the sun is hitting the camera and it's glaring in my face. Anyway, so I've got my cup of tea and I'm going to finish this. So I was saying that I am not on medication. This is my choice, this is how I've decided to do it. Like I said, when I was in hospital, it was a big thing for me to take a sleeping pill. And I feel having children, especially, is the reason I don't want to be on any type of pills, because I want to be at my best. Like, I know I'm not mentally at my best right now, but I want to be as there as I can be, and that includes during the night. And I don't want to be on, there is paint everywhere, I don't want to be on sleeping pills. And you guys might say to me, like, oh, they don't knock you out like that, blah, blah. I don't know, but for me personally, I don't want to be tired, any more tired than I already am. I don't want to be passed out. I want to be able to help my kids, you know. I'm not against anyone that chooses to take medication to help them get through this, because that's what you're doing. And I don't blame you. I think do whatever works. This is just me, and for me this is what's working. So I don't want to be trying to depend on anything. I don't want to become dependent on anything, and I want to know when I don't need them. And I guess this is me, and I'll be honest, I guess it's my lack of knowledge of the medication that's available, but in my head I kind of feel like if I'm on them, when will I know that maybe I can cope without, and I guess people just do trial and error, and I would rather just learn to deal on my own. That is my thinking for now. I want to learn to get through it. I want to, when they come on, I want to learn how they're, like what I'm going to be doing, and I want to learn what's working and what doesn't, and what's going on. I don't want to mask it all, so to speak, because obviously I think anxiety comes from deeper issues, which I believe it all came from my fear and that of the hospitals, and I want to learn to work through that. So I don't want to ignore the anxiety and block it off with medication. Like I said, I'm not being rude to people, because some people just need it. Some people just can't get through without it. And believe me, I think if this anxiety that I have steps up that one more, if I am plagued by anxiety every day, all day, then I will no doubt desperately do my research and go and look again on something, because I do believe that you can't live like that. But for now, I don't want to be on any kind of medication. So I am just using my ways to deal. And they may work for you. Some people might find getting a bit of peace and quiet and doing their own thing does work. For me, I have to actually do the opposite and get involved in something. I have to go and make myself busy just to get my horrible thoughts gone, for something else to take over my thoughts. So do what works for you. I'm not saying, oh, don't go sit outside on your own, that's stupid, go and actually do something. That's not what I'm saying, because you might find that sitting on your own is what clears your head. So you only can try. I have tried everything that people have told me. The other night when I was having a panic attack, I did go and have a shower, and I ended up in the shower bawling and howling, and I think it's just because I was in there alone, and so I had nothing else to think of except what was going around in my head. I can hear my kids crying. I just, anything that I've said in this video, I don't mean to offend people. If you're in my personal life, I don't mean to offend you. I don't mean to come across rude. I don't mean to come across that I don't acknowledge what you're saying, that I don't appreciate you. What I do appreciate though is those that actually don't listen, and I suppose this is going out to those that want to help someone else. I put on my Facebook a while ago that I just wanted to be left alone, and that I wanted to just care about myself for a change, because I'm a real caring person, and I was trying to help everyone else and keep everyone else happy, and in the end I just said, look, I can't do it, I have to deal with myself. And although having like a week of just zoning on myself, I really appreciated those that messaged me and asked if I was alright. I really appreciated the ones that rang, the ones that came around. I loved having my sister here for someone to talk to. It sounds weird, you tell people to leave you alone, and people may say to you they just want to be alone, but I think just letting them know you're there, and they want to be alone like I did, but at the same time that's when your mind gets filled with thoughts. And so when someone would come around for a coffee, I actually really liked it, because it kept me preoccupied. Now that week that I'm talking about, that's probably been my worst week so far, and that was only like a couple of weeks ago. My whole mindset just crashed, and the last couple of days I've also had days like that, but that was an awful week, and that wasn't just anxiety, that was everything, and I think that comes with it, and I had to realise that that was happening. And I think that's the best thing you can do, is if something starts happening, realise it, try and help yourself out, don't ignore it. I'm very open about my anxiety. The only thing is I'm very embarrassed to talk to people about it. People ask me if I'm okay, I say yes. I might have put something behind the screen like on Facebook or text someone, but if I see them in real life, I just act normal because I'm embarrassed. And this is my way of getting it out there and letting people know, and this is my way of venting, and this is my way of talking, and this is my way of counselling, I guess. Getting it all out, how I feel, knowing that people are listening and they kind of might understand now and help me out a bit more or treat me a little bit different, or, you know. So do what works for you to voice your opinion. Do what works for you to help, because I'm really finding I'm trying not to listen to the judgment. I'm trying not to care what other people think. I am just doing what I need to do, because this is not a nice way to live. I was sitting outside earlier and I just started feeling real yucky, and I was just like, I hate it. I hate living like this. I hate not knowing what's going to happen. I hate always being upset. I hate that I'm scared of what's to come. I know that things aren't going to get any better anytime soon, and it's really horrible, but I'm trying to do what I need to do for me, and I think that's the best thing you can do. When you're going through things like this, bugger everyone else, I'm being honest. Do what works for you. And if you know someone that's going through this, let them do that. You know, don't tell them how they should feel, how they shouldn't feel, that they're being silly. Oh, there's worse people out there, and try and help them figure out the underlying cause of this anxiety. I think that's all I have to say, and I think I've rambled on enough, and no doubt when I turn the camera off, I'll think, oh, I wanted to say that, I want to say that, but I'm really sorry if people found this boring. I hope that you found it interesting. I hope those in my personal life kind of understand a bit more. I hope those that have come across here, I might have helped you, or you might have clicked in your head that, oh, that's why that person acts like that, or oh, I understand. I did it for so many reasons, like I said at the beginning, and if you're still listening, thank you. I know I probably used to be one of those ones that would skip through and just watch bits because they're so long, but I think when you're going through something, you really do appreciate when someone's actually rambling on about it, because you know what they mean. So the last thing I really want to say, and this is me being open, I want to apologise to those that I always didn't understand, that I may have said horrible things about. I can't think of like people in particular, but I no doubt I've done it. Those people that I've judged, those people that I haven't understood, those people that I've done the exact opposite of what I'm saying now. Like, I've tried to help people but said the wrong things. I've tried to tell you that you're okay, all that kind of thing. I'm really sorry that I did that, because now I understand. And I think mental illness and all this kind of thing is like that. Until you're going through it, you have no idea. And I'm realizing that now, that the people that I know that have had trouble in the past, that are going through it now, I'm really sorry I didn't understand. And now I get it. And unfortunately, it sucks that it takes people to go through it as well for them to fully understand what's going on. But I think it's like everything, you don't know, you don't understand it until you've done it yourself. So I'm going to shut up. I am going to go and organise dinner for my children, have a shower, and just try and get on with my night as smoothly as possible. No doubt something's going to trigger me off, but you get through it. And that's the one thing I do look at, is I get through it. Yesterday was yesterday, you know. I was having a panic attack before when I was talking to you guys, but that's over now. I didn't die, you know, and I just have to keep reminding myself of that. I know I've got a long way to go. I don't know if this is going to be with me for a very long time, if I'm going to get through it soon, what it's going to lead to, what it's not going to lead to, you know, what's it going to cause, anything like that. So I've just got to take it one day at a time and hope that people can understand why I'm feeling like I am, why I may say things that I do, why I do things that I do, why I just, everything. I really hope that this video helped people understand me, their lives, anything like that. So I hope you guys have a good day, night, whenever you're watching this, and I will see you guys in my next video for hopefully something a lot more chirpier. I think my next video for you guys is going to be Easter, so if you're not already, subscribe, and possibly, hopefully this will be up on a Wednesday, and you guys will see our Easter vlog maybe Sunday, Monday. Alright guys,